Hello and well, get your big old head out the screen. Get your big old head out the screen, Fuecoco. Hello and welcome to our League Challenge in preparation for the Las Vegas Regional Championships. We are just 1 week away. It'll be really, really fun, and over half of the players here today, including both of us, are going to be playing at Las Vegas. So that's going to be really, really exciting. I am Dennis Geisler, with me, Jason Tang. And we're getting into round number 1 real quick. We have Tyler Deacy and Brian Collins. Tyler, I'll go real quick through their team. Alolan Ninetales, Rillaboom, Magmar, Sneasler, Kingambit, and Male Basket Legion. On Brian's side, Hatterene and DD Female. You see them on the screen there. Torkoal, Hisui and Lilligant for a Giraffe and Incineroar. That same team that Brian has been doing so well with over the past few months of this regulation. We'll see how Ty wants to adapt to that, though. I mean, so many of us have gotten beaten down so badly by Brian over the past few months that we certainly have a lot of time to know what he does, but we have the follow need there. It's going to draw the flip turn away. The Basket Legion's going to get on out of there, and I think we're going to see a Trick Room here, I'd imagine, from the Hatterene.
Yeah, I'd be really curious if the Rillaboom switches in here to nice terrain, and to see if the Kowtow Cleave is going to kill the Indeedee position.
I would imagine that it does, unless it's a Swords Dance there, which I really do like. There's not a lot that the Hatterene can do to the Kingambit, and I really enjoy taking an opportunity in Trick Room to be like, I'm actually not that bothered by Trick Room going up. I can set up in your face, and I feel totally fine about that. There's also the Fake Out available for the Rillaboom as well, but I would imagine that this Black Glasses Kingambit can do a ton of damage to either one of these Pokemon, and Sucker Punch is also a serious concern here, although you do probably draw on the Follow Me from there.
It is very possible, though, that Brian goes for Terra Fire and goes for Mystical Fire into this Kingambit, the one-hit KO, but instead, we see Dazzling Gleam come out.
Yeah, it could if it had Mystical Fire, but I believe Brian's set does not have that. There's the Kowtow Cleave, which will pick up the KO on the Indeedee with a critical hit. Very much doubt that mattered. Well, it matters emotionally every time. I can't say the crit didn't matter without thinking of Loudbox getting upset at me in chat. But we'll get the U-turn as well from Rillaboom, so Rillaboom already has the terrain advantage and is certainly never going to lose that.
Now we're going to reveal Ty's last Pokemon, which is Magmar, and this seems really, really good, especially if Brian decides to go with Torkoal mode for the team. However, he does send in Torkoal.
I was going to say, yeah, I have to assume the Torkoal is in the back, because that's certainly how you want to play this team that Brian has, and how you play, how Brian plays especially. But it does mean that Torkoal is certainly in range of just eating a Sucker Punch here, which will very much weaken the amount of damage that it's able to do with an Eruption. But that Farigiraf switch-in is certainly going to help out with that. We're going to see a Terra here. I think that's on Brian's side. Yeah, it's going to be that Terra Fire Torkoal. So Brian's really good at identifying this win condition of just, I think Torkoal can just blow up everything here. So it's going to be the Protect from the Kingambit. It might be a double Protect here to stall out the Trick Room turns. Yes, indeed it is.
Now we only have 2 turns left in Trick Room here, so I'm really curious about what Brian is going to do to try setting the second Trick Room, or if he's going to try sweeping from this position onward with Torkoal. Yeah,
and I mean, you have to at least do some combination of the two. I think the big thing here is that Kingambit's in a very awkward spot because it's probably just going to be taken out by 2 moves here, even if it Terastallizes, so I don't hate the switch out there, even though it has already gone for the Swords Dance. Going into the Basket Legion, I wonder if that'll be able to take an Eruption? I'm curious to see that. I would imagine that the Hyper Voice comes out from the Farigiraf as well here. The double switch is very interesting. The Rillaboom is certainly going to drop immediately. The Basket Legion will take the hit. If it's a follow-up Psychic, it's not going to take the second one, although it will be immune to the Hyper Voice, if that's the choice.
That's a good run. Imagine that Brian locks the Hyper Voice to try getting the Throat Spray on the Farigiraf.
And he doesn't get it, which is pretty meaningful. It does now mean that... So Magmar is going to hit the field here. I mean, it's getting to an awkward point where Tai is just losing Pokemon to this Torkoal. They're getting out of Trick Room at the very least, but it's still not necessarily an ideal spot here. Because you're going to lose this Basculegion here, or at least going to lose something here. There's no way that you get out of this without an Eruption picking up another KO. And a Furgiraf is actually just going to switch out here.
Yeah, I really like this play from Brian because he's able to get Hatterene in to get a second Trick Room up potentially. Mm-hmm. And also making sure that Furgiraf is able to stay healthy in this position.
Yeah. Although ultimately I think the big thing is that I worry a little bit, because I guess I don't know the speed tiers, and I guess we might not find that out immediately between the King Gambit and the Furgiraf. Eruption happened while I was looking away, and there goes the Basculegion. Trick Room ends, though. I certainly know that both of these Pokemon on the field right now for Brian are slower than both of Ty's Pokemon, because they are just that slow. The question is mostly how much does Kowtow Cleave just straight up do to probably Torkoal, because Torkoal could just switch out here, but we're not going to see any switches. We're just going to see the Terra on the King Gambit, Terra Fire. It's very good into this matchup, and if Ty is able to get through the Torkoal, they have a very serious shot of winning this one, even with how the rest of this battle has gone so far. That's not bad damage on the Hatterene. Torkoal takes about half of its HP there. Expanding Force, the single target into the King Gambit, reads the Terra, and that'll pick up the KO. That is the one big issue, is that you do make yourself susceptible to that stab, Life Orb boosted single target Expanding Force, and the Eruption on top of it will not do a ton of damage, but with just Magmar on the field, I think that Brian's going to win this one.
Yeah, having the 3-1 advantage, especially with full health Furgiraf in the back, with Ty's Magmar having no meaningful way to do any damage into it, it's very difficult to see a way that Ty is able to make it through this.
Yeah,
in Ty's shoes, you have to wonder where did the battle go wrong, because you only had 2 turns on the and most of your team was completely healthy. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly you're facing down 1 against 3. Mm-hmm. With no meaningful damage pressure.
And I think ultimately the answer is Torkoal. Like, you can't over-prepare for Torkoal in a lot of cases. You do want to answer that Hatterene and Indeedee lead in a lot of ways, and that's the awkward thing about the Hatterene and Indeedee lead, is that the Indeedee does such a good job at maintaining the pressure for as long as possible, because the Follow Me makes it so that, and Hatterene drops. I'm pretty sure that there's no way that Brian loses from this state, but in any case, the Indeedee does such a good job of doing what it needs to do and then getting out of the way, eating that Kowtow Cleave. I mean, it was going to drop to 1 Kowtow Cleave regardless, and the Swords Dance King Gambit did not get to do anything else.
A lot of ways that we've seen, like, a lot of players play against, like, a lot of these hard Trick Room teams, it's the delay, like, getting that first KO, because if you're able to put Hatterene in a position where it can't do a ton of damage, where Indeedees just keep on going for Follow Me, you can eventually just stall out Trick Room and start doing huge amounts of damage, preventing them from getting into a preferable board position.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what Ty was doing at the beginning, especially having that Rillaboom, the Assault Vest Rillaboom out there, along with the King Gambit. Both those Pokemon really good at eating Hatterene's damage, but it just didn't really work out in terms of the total damage being output. Hatterene wasn't really impacted. They got rid of the Indeedee too quickly. I wonder if there's potentially another way around this one. Potentially because the thing I always think about with this kind of lead is spread moves. It is a little bit dangerous to allow the Indeedee to go for something else, for example, the Helping Hand, but spread moves do certainly help in a lot of cases, and it's actually going to be the Furgiraf and the Indeedee this time against the Basculegion and the King Gambit.
Yeah, I think Brian really showed during Game 1, it's like, why do you need second terrain to win this game against King Gambit?
Yeah.
Because Furgiraf just basically puts in so much work by itself. So I would think that a big part of Ty's game plan in this game would be trying to take out the Furgiraf before it's actually able to do a sizable chunk to your team.
Yeah, you can tell so much of Brian's team is built around, I just hate Incineroar, I need it to stop. You get the Follow Me, and it's probably just going to be the Follow Me Trick Room once again. The flip turn from the Basculegion again is kind of surprising to me. I guess it's not that shocking that it would be the choice to try to shut down the Indeedee. Or, excuse me, just get the Basculegion out of there and allow the Indeedee to do whatever it wants and just sit on the field. But this is the same first turn from Ty as the previous game, and that means the Trick Room is going to get up for Brian. But in a slightly more awkward spot, because the Farigiraf, I think, is a bit less of a threat, at least in my mind, than the Hatterene.
Well, the funny thing is, if the Farigiraf is able to get off one of those hyper voices, suddenly is doing such huge damage. You send in Torkoal, and suddenly you have no offensive pressure, and there's nothing stopping Farigiraf and Torkoal from sweeping through the rest of the game, because you have no fake out pressure and no sucker punch pressure as well. But instead we just see the expanding force come out from this Farigiraf into a little bit.
Wow, that did like no damage.
Yeah, without that +1 boost, it's just really not hurting a lot.
But the problem is, now you're in that same spot again. You've taken out the Indeedee with Kowtow Cleave. Very little has changed. There's the U-turn into the Farigiraf. It is super effective, so it'll do some okay damage there. But we're in that same spot again, where here comes Torkoal. You have to assume.
Yeah, you have to wonder if Ty is regretting not going for the foot hammer into the Farigiraf to put it into easier damage range for the rest of the team, because maybe it's in range of Burning Jealousy once you are able to get into that position. But now there's nothing stopping the Terrifier Eruption plus Hyper Voice double up.
Yeah, that's certainly true. There is really nothing stopping that at this point, which is, other than, I suppose, the game-slowing effect of the Double Protect, but again, it's the same situation as the previous game. There's very little that's changed out of that line other than the Hatterene not being there and the Farigiraf being on the field a lot earlier, but not a lot is different because of that, at least to this point.
And once again, we're in the same position with only 2 turns left to Trick Room. Let's see if Brian's pieces are going to be enough to be able to finish out this game.
Yeah. I mean, they were in the previous game is the thing. That's the thing that's tough for me looking at this, is that it's so similar to how Brian was able to dominate the previous game.
Yeah. You have to wonder if Ty is going to go for the same double switch play or try figuring out something different here.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you're gonna be losing something in the near future.
Interestingly, we see the Burning Jealousy lock from Ty. I'm curious about what this is going to do.
I think the hope here, so we're going to see the Eruption. It's going to do pretty good damage to both these Pokemon. I think the hope is that Magmar is able to take the follow-up Hyper Voice, presumably. Yep, there's the Hyper Voice. And then in Sun, Burning Jealousy KOs the Farigiraf, I think is the goal for Ty here. If it does, we might be in business. If it doesn't, it's super over. Oh man, that did no damage. It burned, but that did like nothing. That was really bad, actually. Yeah, maybe this game is over. It does... I guess the positive for Ty here is that you do have the opportunity to just lose Basculegion here, or just lose one Pokemon here. You can choose which Pokemon that you lose, but you only lose one Pokemon. And I think this is the last turn of Trick Room?
You have to be curious about what Brian's plan to get the second Trick Room up is, though.
Or, and it might not need to happen, we've got that little indicator in our top right that it's a really cute little play that Brian might be bringing here, but you do kind of have to get Rillaboom out of the way first.
Yeah. We're talking about the after you Trick Room or the after you Eruption with Torkoal, with Farigiraf and Torkoal on the field respectively.
Yeah, and regardless, just having that chlorophyll pressure, just being able to be faster because of that is so important here. Farigiraf will take its burn damage there, although it'll heal up the same amount, and it is actually helping this grassy terrain is on the field for Brian, because the little amount of damage that Torkoal took a moment ago is being covered up by the grassy terrain healing, so it's still able to do pretty good damage with that
Yeah, I really have to say, I really like the way that Ty played this game and getting into this position, because it's going to be very difficult for Brian to actually get into a position that's winnable from here.
Certainly better than the previous game, although I wonder how much of that is just the fact that Giraffe has been on the field so much earlier and is taking so much damage.
Yeah, the fact that it also took so long for her to get the Hyper Voice stack with this throat spray, so damage output was so limited.
There's the taunt. This could be dangerous for Ty. The Kowtow Cleave does about half to Torkoal, so that'll significantly weaken. Yeah, the taunt actually a really bad choice there, because it just went for the Hyper Voice, which did a ton of damage to the King Gambit. We'll see if the double up KOs. It is single target eruption, should be around 70-ish base power, I'd imagine, from that range. And yeah, it KOs. Torkoal's really strong.
Yeah, even though that Torkoal's only at 50%, still, it's base 75, like, eruption, in Sun, boosted by Terra,
Sun,
Fire,
Terra,
and
choice specs, like, all of that. And, yeah, this one, thinking it's over. I'm thinking this one's over.
Yeah.
Rillaboom will have trouble getting through the Torkoal in the first place, and that's before you consider the damage that the either single target expanding force or the Hyper Voice is going to get down onto it. And that's aside from the fact that Torkoal is switching out for the Lilligant. There's our funny little technique, is having the Lilligant out here for the Chlorophyll endgame rather than the early game. We'll see if the Hyper Voice not enough to KO.
Now the game ending is a foregone conclusion. It's just going to be if Brian decides to close combat the Rillaboom directly or go for after you Trick Room, so that Torkoal can win the game itself.
Yeah, it's basically where does Brian want to pick up the KO, and it might not matter. I think Ty's just going to forfeit.
Yeah.
And so Brian Collins with the round 1 victory. I mean, Ty's a really great player. This team is really good. Brian's just ridiculously good in this format. And this team is really, really strong.
Yeah, you can tell this is the same player that got top 16 at UIC in the last Regulation F, and got top 8 at the most recent regional championships in North America at Milwaukee.
Yeah.
This is one of the best players in the world, playing at his absolute best.
Yeah.
In the past 5 or 6 locals here in Southern California, he's lost a total of 2 sets, which is absurd.
And we saw one of them on stream last time, so we might see one today, but he's really, really good. In any case, we are going to take a very quick break, and we will be back for round number 2. Don't go anywhere.